Welcome to our complete guide to chillers, one of the most important pieces of equipment in modern HVAC systems. Whether you're managing a commercial building, working in facilities maintenance, or just curious about how large-scale cooling works, understanding chillers is absolutely essential. If you're interested in learning more about HVAC systems, I'd really encourage you to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth lessons like this one. We cover everything from basic concepts to advanced troubleshooting, and new videos come out regularly. Now, let's dive into what makes chillers such a critical part of keeping buildings comfortable. So what exactly is a chiller? At its core, a chiller is a mechanical system designed to remove heat from water or another liquid coolant and transfer that heat to the surrounding environment. Think of it as a massive refrigerator for your building. Instead of cooling the inside of a box, it's cooling large quantities of water that circulate throughout your entire facility. Chillers are found in office buildings, hospitals, universities, data centers, manufacturing plants, and anywhere else that needs precise temperature control on a large scale. They're the backbone of most modern air conditioning systems, especially in bigger structures where window units or standard split systems simply wouldn't cut it. The chiller accomplishes this cooling through a process called refrigeration, which relies on the principles of thermodynamics and the properties of refrigerant chemicals. Now let's explore exactly how a chiller works. The operation of a chiller is based on a continuous cycle that repeats many times per minute. The cycle begins in the evaporator section of the chiller. Here, cold refrigerant liquid enters and absorbs heat from the water that flows through the chiller. As the refrigerant absorbs this heat, it evaporates and becomes a gas. This process is what creates the cooling effect that we need. The warm refrigerant gas then travels to the compressor, which is essentially the heart of the entire system. The compressor uses mechanical energy, usually provided by an electric motor, to compress the refrigerant gas into a smaller volume. This compression raises both the pressure and the temperature of the gas significantly. The hot, high-pressure refrigerant gas then flows into the condenser section. In the condenser, the hot refrigerant gas releases the heat it's been carrying to either outside air or cooling water, depending on the type of chiller. As the refrigerant releases this heat, it cools down and condenses back into a liquid state. This liquid refrigerant then flows through an expansion device, which reduces its pressure and temperature dramatically. Once the refrigerant exits the expansion device, it's cold again and ready to return to the evaporator section to repeat the entire cycle. This continuous loop of evaporation, compression, condensing, and expansion is what allows the chiller to continuously remove heat from your building's water system. Now let's talk about the four main components that make a chiller function. The first component is the evaporator. The evaporator is where the magic happens in terms of cooling. It's a heat exchanger where cold, low-pressure refrigerant absorbs heat from the water circulating through your building. The water enters warm and exits cold, ready to be distributed throughout the facility to cool air handlers and other equipment. The second component is the compressor. The compressor is the powerhouse of the system. It takes the low-pressure refrigerant gas coming from the evaporator and compresses it into a high-pressure, high-temperature gas. This requires significant electrical energy, which is why chillers can be power-hungry. There are different types of compressors used in chillers, including reciprocating compressors, screw compressors, and centrifugal compressors. Each type has different applications depending on the capacity and efficiency requirements of the system. The third component is the condenser. The condenser is another heat exchanger, but it works in reverse compared to the evaporator. Instead of absorbing heat, the condenser rejects heat. The high-pressure, high-temperature refrigerant gas enters the condenser and releases its heat to either outside air or to water, depending on whether it's an air-cooled or water-cooled chiller. The refrigerant cools down and condenses into a liquid state, ready for the expansion device. The fourth component is the expansion device, sometimes called the throttle valve or metering device. This component controls the flow of liquid refrigerant from the condenser into the evaporator. It maintains the proper pressure difference between the high and low pressure sides of the system, and this pressure difference is crucial for the entire cycle to function correctly. By restricting the flow, it causes a significant pressure and temperature drop in the refrigerant. Now let's compare the two main types of chillers you'll encounter: air-cooled chillers and water-cooled chillers. Air-cooled chillers use outside air to reject heat from the refrigerant in the condenser section. They have fins and fans, similar to an outdoor air conditioning unit, just on a much larger scale. The main advantage of air-cooled chillers is that they don't require a separate cooling tower or additional water system, which means lower installation costs and less complexity. However, they're sensitive to outside air temperature. When it's extremely hot outside, an air-cooled chiller has to work much harder to reject heat, which reduces its efficiency and increases energy consumption. They also tend to be noisier than water-cooled units and take up more physical space because of their large fan systems. Water-cooled chillers, on the other hand, reject heat to water rather than air. This water is typically cooled using a cooling tower located outside the building. Water-cooled chillers are more efficient, especially in hot climates, because water is a better heat transfer medium than air. They produce less noise and take up significantly less floor space than air-cooled units. They're more complex and expensive to install because they require an additional cooling tower and water treatment systems to prevent corrosion and biological growth. You also need to account for water usage and the environmental concerns associated with water consumption and potential water quality issues. The choice between air-cooled and water-cooled typically comes down to your climate, available space, budget, and local water availability and regulations. Now let's discuss how chillers connect to building systems and work within the larger HVAC infrastructure. A chiller is part of what's called a central plant system. The chiller produces cold water that's pumped through pipes to various locations throughout the building. This cold water flows through air handlers, which are units that contain fans and heat exchangers. The air handlers use the cold water to cool air, which is then distributed through ductwork to individual spaces in the building. There's also a return path, where the warm water comes back from the air handlers and returns to the chiller to be cooled again. This creates a continuous loop. The chiller system is controlled by a building management system, which monitors temperatures throughout the facility and adjusts the chiller's operation to maintain set point temperatures. Smart controls allow the system to operate efficiently by turning equipment on and off as needed. Adjusting compressor speeds and variable speed units helps with efficiency too. This integrated approach allows for much more precise temperature control and better energy efficiency than individual unit systems. Some buildings also have thermal storage systems that work alongside chillers. These systems make ice or store cold water during off-peak hours when electricity rates are lower, then use that stored cold during peak hours. It's a fantastic way to reduce energy costs and peak electrical demand. Like this video if you found this information valuable. Let me share some common problems and maintenance tips that every facilities manager should know about. One frequent issue is refrigerant leaks. Even small leaks reduce the system's cooling capacity and can eventually damage the compressor if the system runs low on refrigerant. Regular inspections and prompt repair of any leaks is essential. Another common problem is fouling in the heat exchangers. Fouling occurs when mineral deposits, algae, or other contaminants accumulate on the surfaces of the evaporator or condenser. This buildup reduces heat transfer efficiency and forces the chiller to work harder. Regular water treatment and cleaning can prevent most fouling issues. Compressor failures can occur due to insufficient lubrication, contamination in the refrigerant, or simply age and wear. That's why regular maintenance of lubrication systems and refrigerant cleanliness is so important. Vibration and noise problems often indicate mechanical issues like worn bearings or misalignment. These should be investigated and corrected quickly to prevent more serious damage. For maintenance, you should implement a regular preventive maintenance schedule that includes inspections, cleaning, lubrication, and performance testing. Most manufacturers recommend quarterly or semi-annual maintenance depending on usage. Keep detailed records of all maintenance performed, repairs made, and performance metrics. These records help you track trends and predict when major repairs might be needed. Check refrigerant levels regularly and inspect for leaks. Keep condenser coils clean, especially on air-cooled units. And ensure cooling towers are properly maintained if you have a water-cooled system. Test and calibrate controls and sensors to ensure accurate temperature control. Check all electrical connections for corrosion or looseness. Inspect insulation on pipes to prevent heat gain and condensation issues. Make sure all safety devices are functioning properly. Proper maintenance not only keeps your system running efficiently, but also extends its lifespan significantly and reduces the risk of unexpected failures that can be very expensive. Let's recap the key takeaways from this lesson. A chiller is a mechanical system that removes heat from water to cool your building. The process works through a continuous refrigeration cycle involving evaporation, compression, condensing, and expansion. The four main components are the evaporator, compressor, condenser, and expansion device, and each plays a critical role. Air-cooled chillers are simpler and cheaper but less efficient in hot weather, while water-cooled chillers are more efficient but more complex and expensive. Chillers work as part of an integrated central plant system that distributes cold water throughout the building. Regular preventive maintenance is absolutely essential to keep your chiller running efficiently and to prevent costly breakdowns. I'd like to say that understanding these systems really gives you the foundation you need for more advanced HVAC topics. If this video was helpful and you want to continue learning about HVAC systems, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.